All right, guys, welcome back to the Mountain Wizard. If you are into off-grid living and homesteads, this is the video for you. You can go ahead and thank the YouTube algorithm for bringing you here. Let's dive off into it. If you are looking for a home that has all the modern amenities, running water, you're producing more power than you need off of solar. This is one of the largest solar arrays and system setups that I have gotten to share with you all. And this homestead has what is needed to begin your homestead journey. This has a good base here. You got outbuildings, you've got rainwater collection, you've got a massive solar array system, and you've got heating and cooling inside the home. This is it. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to break away and we're going to go into a drone shoot. I'm going to give you an overlay of the property, show you some of the outbuildings and just the surrounding terrain here. And then we're going to go step by step through the buildings. I will go around the exterior of them first. We will begin with the shop. Then we will move over to the house and the solar shed. There's a lot to cover here. Stay with me. We're going to go over the exterior first of each building. Then I will enter the interior and I will show you all of the water systems, the rainwater catchment, the filtration system. We're going to go over the interior of the home and how that has been laid out, how we are controlling the temperature for heating and cooling. And we're going to go over the solar shed and solar array. So stay with me and let's check it out, guys. All right, so here you can see this property sits about 1.5 miles off of the closest pavement. It goes up a dirt road that is well maintained. It is an all-weather road. And then you begin down the driveway. That is a gated driveway, heavy welded steel gate. And as you come into the property, the homestead section of it here, you will approach your shop here in the lower right or center right of this frame. Then sits your house a little bit farther in, and then your solar array off to the left, as you can see. I'll give you a nice little view here as we circle around the property and just let you see where your neighbors are and the fact that there are none, and even the houses that you may be able to pick up in this, they are not full-time residences. So you've got a lot of space and a lot of privacy in a spot like this. You got a nice yard off in front of the house or off to the side of the house where you could easily be able to put in a nice garden or orchard. And a lot of wooded cover around the property. You've got a little over 11 acres on this particular spot. Plenty of space here to be able to put in a pond, or you could do swales for more water catchment, but a multitude of options. I've seen deer here several times when I've come to check on the property. So wildlife is heavy in this area: bears, turkey, deer. So hunting opportunities are endless, and that is something that I really like to look for with these properties. Is you want the opportunity to be able to collect from nature's bounty and forage and hunt as your family sees the need for, and just it's nice to have that opportunity. Here in just a moment, I'm going to give you a little bit of a 360 view of the terrain around this property. It's nestled here in the Ouachita Mountains in southeastern Oklahoma, and so you will see the mountain range to the south and west and north of this property. This is your view to the south. Not necessarily your view, but it gives you a good terrain. That's the Talamina Drive off to the left there now. I believe that's Round Mountain in front. And now you're facing west and coming around here to the north. But just gives you an idea of the surrounding area, and lets you be able to see what you're going to have around this this build. And I recommend this for any build that you might be looking at. Look at the drone footage, see where your neighbors are at, if there are any. And I've been able to use this to do a lot of research and area study on properties, either that I was looking to purchase or for others. So it's a worthwhile investment, or just hire somebody with a drone to come out and take a look. A lot of times these realtors have them, so it's good information to have. And the pictures are cool too, especially as things progress. Okay guys, welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed the drone footage of this place. Let me give you a little bit of a rundown here, and then we will just dive off into it. So the property is in southeastern Oklahoma. It is a Wister, Oklahoma address. It is sitting on just over 11 acres. The home is around 1,200 square feet. The solar power is 8.6 kilowatts. We're going to go over that here in a bit. Massive battery bank. And then we've got a mostly finished shop here that is 24 by 30 with 10-foot sides. And so let's start with the shop. We'll go to the house, then the solar system, solar array, solar power, and we'll carry on like that. All right. So 24 by 30 shop, 30 wide across the front, 24 deep, and it has 10-foot sheds on each side. This has been set up for rainwater catchment, and I did design and install this system here several years ago. I've had the opportunity to have spent several years working on this property for this client, and now I have permission to film, and this property is being put up for sale. So there is a link down below. It'll be in the pinned comment and in the description if you are interested in such. Okay, so over here on the right, I've got our rainwater catchment pipe coming in. This is set up just like I set up all the other systems. We catch here, we have one outlet on the gutter. It's a 5-inch outlet, I believe, or a 5-inch gutter. Apologies. I believe that's a 4-inch outlet. We go into a 4-inch sewer and drain pipe. It's what I use for all of my system installs. We tied it into this post so that it's good and secure, and prevents it from getting hit or knocked around. Bury this into the ground, just like we do on the other systems. If you have any questions about this, feel free to check out the playlist where I go into all of the information on these gutter installs and systems. Here's the rear. Okay, we're catching. We're going to come over here. It's all buried under here. We've got a clean out here on the bottom of the tank, right where the where these pipes are coming into the top of the first storage tank. These clean outs, they will catch pollen and some of your large debris, and you can unscrew these caps, or in inclement weather, you can unscrew those caps and allow this the gutter system to drain, help prevent freezing pipes, and gives you a way to clean out the pipes. Here on the bottom, we have our 1-inch outlet with a ball valve, because valves are your friend when you are dealing with rainwater catchment. So everywhere you can have a valve, makes sense. You're going to have a leak at some point. Everybody does. Okay, so we have two 2,500-gallon tanks. They are teed together here at the bottom and inside this valve box. And this valve box is really just a way to protect things. Okay, so there's a shutoff valve there, and that just allows you a way to isolate the tanks, like the way I set up my systems, and as I set up these. Once a tank is full, we isolate that and we draw off of another. We have a primary tank is what we call it. We'll draw off of that. When we need to, we will open up additional tanks. The reason being is if you have a leak, you do not want to drain all of your water, okay? So the more isolation opportunities you have, the better off you are, okay? This small pipe, this 1.25 inches is what they generally are. I think that's 1.25 inches. That is the overflow pipe for that tank when it's full. Here we have this, this is our inlet to the pump, and this is our outlet to the house, okay? That is all buried PEX line all the way down to the corner of the house. We'll go over that here momentarily. It's all wood siding. It's been painted to match the house, and it has a metal roof. So let's step inside here. 24 by 30 with a concrete floor. It is all 2x6 exterior studs on 16-inch center, so very well built. The electrical has been professionally ran in here, and the only thing it is lacking now of being finished is some insulation. A good place to be able to keep your chest freezers up here out of the weather and out of the house for additional storage. Over here, we've got our rainwater filtration system. We start off over here with a service disconnect, same as you will see on mini splits or central AC units outside your house. We just have it to be that you can pull this out to disconnect the power and be able to service things. Here on the bottom, we have another valve. So this is where it's coming into the building. We've got another valve here to isolate. Then we come into our check valve, come up over to our first sediment filter that will keep major debris out of your pump and your pressure tank. And then there's a way to drain it there with the bucket. So we come out of our pressure tank here, and we are going to come out and go up to a 3-stage filtration system. We have isolation valves on each side of the filtration base. And I believe these are 4 by 20-inch filters. I don't want to lie to you there, but I use 4 by 10s and a 2-stage filter at my house. So I know these are the next size up. I believe they're 4 by 20. We do have differential valves, or I'm sorry, differential pressure gauges up here. So what the way you would use these is you will read your pressure here and on your inlet, and you will read your pressure on your outlet. If you have a large differential between those two pressure readings, that will tell you that your filters need to be changed. So if your inlet pressure is 50 psi and your outlet pressure is only coming out at 40, you know that your filters are getting clogged and it is time to service your filters. These filters are, and with very frequent use, you're going to see probably 3-month service life or longer with these filters. We come over here, we've got another set of isolation valves to isolate the UV filter or UV light. So if that needs servicing, we're able to shut off the water to it. And that is made by Rainflow and has been a good unit. Really haven't had any problems with it. So let's shut down this building and we'll go on over to the house. Give you a walk around on the exterior. And this is about 1,200 square feet, give or take. There is a very large loft upstairs, and we're going to go over that here in just a moment. So, walk up to the door on the house. We've got our Amish clothesline out here. If you're not familiar with these, highly recommend. It gives you a good spot. Let me back up here. You got a platform that you can stand on, set your laundry basket, and work in one spot. It's not like the old school ones where you have to travel up and down with a bag of clothespins and set your clothes out. You can stand in one spot, okay? You can unlock it and you'll drag it in. All right, let me show you here. It's a very neat design. You wouldn't think something so simple could be improved, but here we are. So these are supports. And so as you send your clothes out, okay, you're going to have weight on the line and it will separate. Well, if you send out a support with it, you'll just put that in between your clothes, send out a support, and now that'll keep the line from sagging there. And then you just add them as needed. Once you get your clothes all reeled out to where you need, you can lock them in place. So even if you're going up a slight incline or something, it's possible to lock the clothes in place. And now that will prevent the wind from blowing them back in. All right, so neat design there. Over here was a leveled out pad, so you'd have a good spot to be able to build a greenhouse and set that up. And you've got plenty of space out here to do some gardening if that is what you're into, or run some livestock. You could run some sheep, Chicken pens were back there. They kept those in the wood line, kept them in the shade. So come along the outside of the house, got a nice dormer upstairs for the loft. Using the inverter style Medea window units, they've been exceptional. They've really done a great job keeping up with the house. Also have a rainwater catchment system on the house here. So same design as others. We don't need to go into that. The pipe is buried and it goes over to that tank. I'll show you that here in just a moment. Here is your water inlet for pressure inside the home. This vent here is for the propane wall heater, which I will show you in a moment. A little bit of a different design than what I normally install or see in these off-grid builds, and I really like this unit. This is your gas line. It is exterior, easy to add on if you want. There's a plug there, and also easy to add on, and it was installed after the house was erected. And then you got a Starlink cable up there going to, well, can't see it from here. Going to your Starlink dish. That's what it's for. This is your septic cleanout, and there is your septic tank and leach field out that way. This tank here is a 1,500 gallon rainwater catchment. It's just an additional source. When we are living off of rainwater catchment, we do not miss an opportunity to catch rainwater. So this is just another spot. It is not tied into the pumps up the hill. But what you could do is you could either set this up with another outlet on the bottom and a small pump, and you could use that for irrigating the water, irrigating the an orchard or the garden, or however you see fit there. Or you could drop in a submersible pump and use a garden hose to pump these up the hill to your main tanks if you were to get low. This line here is your overflow, and it is coming out right in between those two 4-inch inlets. And we are also catching water off the back of the house. There's your Starlink dish right up there. It works very well. Down here, you may see this is your gray water line. And so the washer machine, the sinks, and the shower are all tied into the gray water line. And that is just served by a leach field going out this direction. So no tank for that. You don't have to worry about putting in or overloading your septic tank that way. So let's come around here. This is where gas line comes into the house. We'll go over that here. I'll show you the tank here momentarily. This line is going in to feed the water heater, and there is going in to feed the stove in the kitchen. Installed these neat little thermometers on the outside of the window, so you can stand inside. There's the kitchen sink there, and you can look out the window and see what the temperature is. Got another Medea window inverter unit here. Again, doing a great job keeping up with the house. This is service inlet to the house from the solar array, and we'll go over that momentarily. But let's step inside and show you the interior. So you come into the living room here. Got plenty of room for a little couch, TV, and sound system there. And nice view out the windows of the woods. All right, so you come around here to the master bedroom. Got a window unit set in there. Plenty of room for, it looks to be a queen size bed and nightstands. And there's enough room in here that you could add a king size if that's what you wanted. Closet with your main breaker panel. There's nothing really exceptional about this. It's not set up like some of our other builds. So it's just a main breaker panel. I will show you the other generator hookups here in a moment. Around here, this is where they have the washer machine and vanity. All right. Vanity. And then in here, there is a composting toilet, and I believe this one has a built-in fan as well as UV light, so a little bit of a higher end composting toilet. It gives you a good spot for that. But do not be dismayed. There is a regular flushing toilet here momentarily. I'm going to show you. So you come in here to the living room, another window unit here. And just to give you some information, this is an 8,000 BTU unit. They're super quiet and they put virtually no load on the solar array. And do a great job keeping up with the climate here in Oklahoma. I will tell you that I have been checking on this house about every 10 days for the past year and a half. That is part of the service that we offer here on the mountain. And I've been keeping up. What I do is I fill out a report and I check tanks, check for leaks, issues that there may arise. I make sure that we don't have busted pipes, that electricity is flowing as it should, and check windows, make sure we haven't had break-ins and things like that. We don't have a history of that, but you know, when people are out of state, they like to keep an eye on their place. We offer that service, and that is something that we do. So all of that said, I have kept up with this place for about the last year and a half. No issues. I had a water line that I had to replace a valve on. No big deal. It's always been heated and cooled to the temperatures that we've had set. So for what that's worth, I've got a little bit of history here. Here's your dining room. He's got the Starlink modem is set up there. And then this is a Rene wall heater for the propane. Little bit of a different design, as I was telling you, than what I typically see or install in these off-grid builds. And I really like this. For one, I believe this unit is fan forced, and the BTU per hour at propane is 16,560 BTUs. Does a fantastic job keeping up with the temperature even in single digit weather, because I've been out here and checked on things. I also like this because you can set your room temperature and then it will tell you what your current room temperature is. And there are all sorts of different settings in here that you can change around. Right now it's just on economy, and we have it set where it will not allow the house to get below 60 degrees. So plenty warm enough to keep things from freezing. Come over here and show you the loft. This could easily have a little 2-bedroom even spot up here, or just be used for storage. It's massive. It's and that dormer really gives it a lot of room up there as well. So finishing that out with a set of stairs or a ladder design would not be an issue. Come into the kitchen here, and I helped install all of the cabinetry in here. So firsthand knowledge, all of this cabinetry was custom made by the Amish. I don't recall if he picked this up in New York or Pennsylvania. You know, I know Pennsylvania is Amish country from my time living there, but he was from New York. But regardless, it did come from there, and it is all high quality. And they did a fantastic job with the measurements and making this to fit. So you got an island butcher block countertops here. This is an IceGo chest refrigerator. At first I was a little not so sure about this. One of the reasons I like this though for off-grid use is it has a built-in battery. And so it shows you here that the battery is fully charged, and it shows you what the voltage is and your temperature, and all of that is adjustable, or at least your temperature is anyways. But what it allows is if you are in a power outage, you're not going to lose the food in your fridge. So if you had to step away for a few days and something went down, we ended up in a week of inclement weather and didn't bring in any solar, this would still be functioning. So I'll just show you the inside of it. It's a very large fridge. I think this one is over 70 liters, if I recall right. And then it has removable baskets. No problem running a microwave off the solar array because it is massively oversized for this build, which is just the way we like it. All of the drawers are soft close. And here we have an Alexa Pure, which is very similar to the Berkey style of water filters. It's a gravity filter system. You put in your faucet water there at the top. It filters through down to here, and then you've got a spigot to fill bottles. Same as I've been using at my home for the last 8 years. Highly recommend them. Nice double sink and running water all the time because that is the way we like these off-grid builds set up. This is a 24-inch stove, so a little bit more compact than your normal stoves, but fits in well in this smaller kitchen, and it is propane powered. Come over here. He does have another chest freezer down here just for additional storage. And then these shelves were made to hold half-gallon and 1-gallon size mason jars. So if you've got your coffee, sugar, wheat, flour, help me out there, whatever else you're going to put in that, cocoa, you've got plenty of room for your food stores as well as from the garden because you've got 2 racks. So this is the second bath here. We've got a dual flushing toilet. Turn on light for us. Got a dual flushing toilet, 2-stage, I think is the correct term there, and goes out to that septic system. That is the only thing tied into that septic system, so that is going to last you many, many years. This has been framed out for a pocket door, so adding that would not be an issue at all. Vanity, overhead medicine cabinet. This is, I believe, a 36-inch shower. And then over here, we've got another Renee product, the water heater. So that is all propane powered, and you've got your inlet and outlet, and no issues there. So if you have any questions, please leave them down below. It helps the channel out a ton if you can like, share, and subscribe to this, and send it to other like-minded folks. You know, some people don't even know that this is an option to have a fully off-grid, normal functioning home and or cabin in the woods. A lot of them think that off-grid means they're going to be out there with a hand pump and they got to bring in their water. And sure, there are people that do that and it works out for them, but there are ways to level this up. You don't have to have a generator running 24/7 to have power. That is the old school way. Are there people that do it and love it? Yes. And it works for them. It's not how I want to live. And these properties that I bring you and share, I want you to be able to pull something away from each of these properties to put into your own. It doesn't mean that this property is for you, but what it might mean is you might see a system designed that during one of these walkthroughs that you're able to carry through to your own build. And that's how I set up my homestead. I watched countless videos and put together years of information, letting other people make the mistakes. And then I was able to carry it into my own homestead and make far less mistakes. Trust me, you're still going to make plenty. So don't get discouraged by that. But just know that the more information you put out there and absorb yourself, it's going to help you in the long run. Even if you're not going to do this tomorrow, it is helpful to have the information. Okay. This is the solar shed. Over here is your outlet going to the home. And this is a generator inlet to be able to run the house in the event of, you know, maybe something's gone where the inverters need a warranty repair, or you've had a week of inclement weather and you brought in no solar power and or used up your battery storage. You would have the option to be able to plug in a generator here. This is a 30 amp inlet. Same as I install on, or very similar. I think I install 50 amp inlets, but very similar to what I install on my own off-grid cabins to be able to supplement power. Here, this is a traditional breaker system for when we are dealing with off-grid. This is your solar input. That is what is providing the power right now to the garage, the house, and your water pump. In the event of an outage, or you need to service something on the solar side and you need a way to isolate that and still provide power to the home, you will turn off your solar power. You will slide up your generator disconnect or interlock, apologies, and you will flip over your generator plug. Plug in your generator, turn it on, and then you will be providing power to your garage, house, and water pump, just the same as the solar was. So come around back here. We are also catching water off of this. Yeah, it doesn't seem like much, but we're able to collect in another 250 gallon totes here. So we've got a combined 500 gallons more of rainwater. Perfect for use in the garden. Again, you could hook up a pump and transfer these to the other tanks as needed. It gives you options, and that is what we are shooting for. These are not painted black. These are actually black IBC totes. I have not seen those before, but if he used paint on them, it is some of the most resilient paint that I've seen, because a lot of it will scratch if it's been painted. I've not noticed that to be the case anywhere on these tanks. So if he did paint them, he found some great paint for them. But again, with them being black, that will help prevent algae growth, and yeah, that's the main thing that we deal with the tanks is algae growth, which is why we use dark tanks. Right here on these LBs, this is your input from your PV, so your solar panels, and we'll go over those here in just a moment. This is what I'm excited to show you. Massive solar capability here, energy producing power. We've got not one, but two of these 14 kilowatt EG4 wall mounted batteries. And then two 6000 XPs by EG4. For those of you that don't know, a lot of this comes from Signature Solar out of Texas, which is easily a half day's drive. You could drive down there, eat lunch, and come back in the same day without a problem. So just keep that in mind if you ever want to expand these batteries. The team down there has been great. This is no affiliation or anything like that. They're just easy to work with and helpful and knowledgeable. They can help you with system design and everything. So emergency disconnect if you need to isolate your solar shed here, and more breakers for power. So, and then these are your PV disconnects as they come in, and then they are combined and sent over to the inputs on the 6000s. Also is coming with this property is a 100 amp charge inverter. So that will allow you to be able to use about as large a generator as you want. And these charge inverters are scalable per the generator. So you can set it, if your generator can only handle putting out 20 amps, you can set it to that. If your generator runs good at 55 amps, you can set it to that. It's fully adjustable. They work great. I have one on my own system. Highly recommend them. Now, let's get into the solar array. This front row here, there is, I believe this is 10 panels. It is 4.4 kilowatts of bifacial power. Okay, so 10 panels at 440 watts each. They do exceptionally well. This was one of the first bifacial arrays I had the privilege of installing, and I am impressed. Things have come a long way over the last few years. Back here, we've got 15 of these panels. These are your traditional, I guess it'd be mono face. They only bring in the sunlight on one side, or only produce power on one side. And they are 285 watt panels. So you're bringing in about another 4.2 kilowatts off of this system. So combined total, 8.6 peak, 8.6 kilowatts at its peak of solar producing panels. So one of the largest arrays and battery storage systems that I have gotten to be around on someone else's homestead. It's nice to see somebody oversize things and not have to worry about the power. 28 kilowatts of battery storage and plenty of room in that shed to add more as needed. Over here, we've got a 500-gallon propane tank that is plumbed into the house on those connections that I have shown you. I believe this is a lease tank, but I don't want to misspeak there. If it is a lease tank, lease is only like $30 a year. He may have purchased that outright. That'll all be described in the listing, and you can deal with the real estate and agent and the seller on that information. But I hope you found this useful. Most importantly, I hope it gives you ideas for your own homesteads and the projects that you might decide to tackle yourself. So that's why I'm sharing this. I'm not tied into this in the aspect of the real estate side or anything. The way you all support me is by watching these videos and liking and sharing and subscribing to them. That helps me. That's all I'm looking for out of the video. I want to be able to bring you information and share modern stuff. You know, over the years, I was telling you, I watched countless videos before I set up my homestead. But now those videos are a decade or decades old. I mean, I started my homestead in 2018. 2017 I started. Moved in 2018. So we're looking at videos now that are minimum 9 years old. Minimum. Many of them older than that, and they are referencing old systems, and I want you to see that there are new ways of doing things. At that time, nobody was doing rainwater collection like I had, and like I decided to set up. So that, I don't want to go off on that rabbit trail, but that is why I'm showing you this stuff. I appreciate you all watching. Thanks for tuning in. I'm looking forward to bringing you more of these properties. And if you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section down below. I look forward to reading them, and I try to respond to everybody's. All right, folks, until next time, Mountain Wizard out. See ya.